Well, glory to God and a bunch of great kids. That I think that's you talk about culture, and you talk about trying to put your culture on display. That was a culture win with a bunch of great kids that believe in each other and fight for each other. And I just asked them one thing: just fight until the very end, and that's what they did. I wish I could say that was coaching. That was just a bunch of great players fighting their guts out and finding a way, doing whatever it took to find a way in an ugly ball game for us, especially offensively for 3 quarters. We found a way, and that's what you have to do in conference. You find a way to get 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter, and you find a way to all of a sudden jumpstart your offense, and you find a way to make some big plays by some really big players. I've been in a lot of games in 30 years. When Derwin Burgess caught that ball, I don't know if I've ever felt a feeling like that before. And really proud for him, proud for this team, proud for Dexter Williams. You never know when your time's going to come. We always talk about that, and his time came, and he lifted his team up in a really crucial spot. So, with that, I'll take any questions you got.
Coach, through 3 quarters, pretty flat.
Yeah.
Both offense and defense.
Yeah.
JC gets hurt. Dex comes in,
Mm-hmm.
completes that long pass.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of seemed like
Mm-hmm.
got a little momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like there was a play, time, when you kind of thought maybe we can come back here?
Yeah, I really thought the whole second half. I mean, I'm looking in the third quarter. I'm like, gosh dang, we get the pick. We throw a pick inside the 20-yard line. Then we turn it over on downs on the 3-yard line. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, we're one play away from being in this thing, getting it to one score. And I got to credit our defense. I mean, they kept us in that game for so long until the momentum switched. And it really started with the first turnover. When that first turnover happened, it was almost like an avalanche. You got to remember that team had only turned over two turnovers in 5 games, and then all of a sudden we find a way to rip 2 balls out, that really lead to 14 points, and all of a sudden you look up and it's 24-23. So I really felt like once we got that first turnover and got going, that's when the momentum switched.
They're low points, obviously
Mm-hmm.
it ends on a high point. Have you ever been a part of a game that had such a stark contrast as fast
I was in a Rose Bowl one time that it was just back and forth, and the emotions were so high, and then they were swings just all over the place, and that was one of those. There was levels of frustration that you had to take a deep breath and say, okay, go to the next play, and that's what we talked about all week. When you get in conference, it's not all going to be candy canes and rainbows. Their plays aren't going to work. You're going to be times that you're frustrated, but you just got to get to the next play, and you got to fight to the next play, and that's what they did. I haven't been in too many where you scored 21 points in the last 6 minutes to win the game, but I have been in those games where emotions run high and low, and that's usually conference games that mean a lot. And that game meant a lot. Those were the 2 teams that were still undefeated on our side of the East, fighting to go 1-0 on the week, and our team found a way to win.
Dexter Williams comes in.
Mm.
Was there any thought of putting him in when things were kind of slowing down there? Or was it only because, JC took the
Yeah, he took that hit and really didn't know where he was at, to be honest with you, from a health standpoint. And we've always said go with the guy that's best in the moment. And after suffering that hit, it was Dex's time. And I said this coming out of training camp. We have 3 quarterbacks that I think could start anywhere, and Dex got his opportunity, and he made the most of it in that moment. That's what good quarterbacks do. We just played a team that has 2 good quarterbacks that are really supporting each other. Today, Dex supported JC and lifted our team up, and so proud for him.
What is it about him that you feel like he was so successful in the moment like this? Because a lot of kids,
Yeah.
Don't do what he did
Yeah.
at the last 6 minutes of the game.
Well, you see his journey, and I heard him talk about this journey. I mean, you're talking about a kid that has been through some adversity, and may not. And God may have been looking after us and said, "Let's go put the one in that has had the most adversity in his life." It's his time, and he made the most of his time. Really proud for him.
What do you
Mhm.
but you saw what Dexter can do.
Mhm.
You mentioned staying with the quarterback. What happens?
Well, one, you see where JC's at, health wise. And, JC's played a lot of good football too. We're just very fortunate that we've got multiple quarterbacks. We addressed an issue that, we wanted to have a quarterback room that had depth, that had talent, and now we've done that, And so I'll get a medical report tomorrow, see where JC's at, see what our best option is, and go from there. But let's all remember, JC is one of the reasons we're undefeated in conference too. And today, Dex got an opportunity to help us get to 1-0 and keep that undefeated in conference.
Have you been in a game with so many replays and indecisiveness, maybe from the officiating crew? I know you can't comment on officiating,
Mhm.
but just, so many plays that you feel like this has got to be a touchdown. It's not.
Yeah.
This has got to be a fumble and a score.
Well, one thing after 30 years of football that you learn is patience, and I think that that you had to have patience in this night, whether it was stubbing our toe offensively, whether it was not making those plays in the third quarter, or whether it was calls that you thought were supposed to go one way and they went the other. That's football. I wish that you could do something about it, but no, that's football. All you can do is control what you can control, and that's making plays, and that's what our kids did.
Throughout the span of a football season, I'm sure it's easy to go through the motions week by week, and you got to quickly move on. James Madison, see you next weekend, but a staple win for this program.
Yeah.
Your players were talking about what the program is and how this exemplifies that. Can you speak on how are you going to balance enjoying this one but also moving on?
Yeah. What time is it, Jeff?
What is it, like 12:40?
It's the next day. As a coach, you got to move on. It's the next week, and so as happy as I am, and we'll enjoy this win, from now until when we meet today. When we meet today, but we've got to be able to learn from a lot of this. There's so many corrections that we have to make because James Madison is coming to town, and I got to watch them, and they're really, really good. And so we've got an opportunity to again be at Paulson, which helped us so much. I do want to say this to Eagle Nation: I've never seen anything like that before. At the beginning of that game and all the way through, and all the folks that stayed and fought with us and dang rooted us on. Thank you, Eagle Nation, for believing us, being out here today. I hope you come back next week. We'll need each and every one of you. Thank y'all.